Recorded Books presents Crime in Cornwall, The British Book Tour Mysteries, Book 2, by Emma Dakin, narrated by Bianca Amato. Chapter 1. The walls were shaking again. The noise level from the neighbour's back garden rose like the roar of a football crowd, and had reached that stage of raucous shouts mixed with wild music that made sleep impossible. I tried earplugs. I tried putting my head under the blankets. I gave up. I considered phoning over. "This is Claire Barclay from next door. Could you tone it down?" I doubt they'd pay any attention to that request, and I'd end up looking like an interfering neighbour. That's twice this month, Gulliver. Gulliver, all 12 pounds of beautiful King Charles Cavalier Spaniel, stirred and sat by my head. I knew those big brown eyes were watching me in the darkness. I could feel them. He shook himself, stood, and sniffed my ear. He wanted out. "I know. You're still a puppy." I yawned and swung my legs to the floor. Bass beats thudded through the floorboards. 2:30 a.m. Time for all partygoers to leave. The Stonnings were rarely in our semi-detached. It would be a duplex in Seattle, but here in England it was a semi-detached. I imagined the two halves of the house pulling apart until they were attached only by a few bricks. That wasn't going to happen. It had stood here for several hundred years. When the Stonnings came down from London for the weekend, they tested the solid construction of the house by bringing guests who partied. Patrick and Rita were about my age, but I'd stopped that kind of partying years ago. Did that make me virtuous or dull? I was too sleepy to pursue the thought. I escorted Gulliver to the kitchen door and waited while he made his mark at the far end of the garden. The noise was much louder here. It rose and fell in waves, the low percussion compressing the air until I could not only hear it, but feel it. The volume of the music suddenly lowered. The change was a little startling. I heard a bellow of laughter, a screech of response. Then the noise receded to the constant blur of many conversations. Comments floated over the fence. "I told her that she had to show us some presence on social media. Does she think she can get published without that?" The voice was young and scornful. "Authors, they think they're omnipotent." The vocabulary was sophisticated. I imagined the person who used a word like omnipotent. Young, blasé, wearing jeans and a suede blazer. I used to teach English to executives. That conditioned me, so at times I paid more attention to how people spoke than what they said. I admired the syntax and vocabulary, and occasionally missed the meaning. "Without us, you'd be out of a job," a deep, older voice said. Patrick worked at a publishing house. I think Rita worked there as well, but I'd never had much conversation with them. I knew Rita's brother, Robert Andrews, who was Gulliver's vet and my friend, and his daughter Sarah, but somehow Rita faded into the scenery, and I'd never had a conversation with her. Patrick was a little friendlier and had come over for coffee once. They were good enough neighbours, rarely there, and not at all nosy about me, but their parties could go on until morning. I made myself some hot chocolate and carried it back upstairs. The only way to endure the party was to wait it out. I sipped my comfort chocolate and read for a while. The music didn't pound through the walls now, and I heard car tyres spin on the gravel in the driveway. Good. Finally, some of the guests were leaving. My mobile on the bedside table showed 3 a.m.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.